We will do kind of our announcements first. And just to remind you, you haven't emailed the annual groundwater reports for groundwater management district number 1 and their financial statement, the Equispeds groundwater management district number 2, and the Big Bend groundwater management district number 5. So 1, 2, and 5, you should have those in your email. We will meet tomorrow, and we'll tell you again at the end, and we will be having a hearing on House Bill 2543, the livestock brands fees. And also, just for next week, Monday is called the chair, not planning on meeting, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be pretty big days. We'll have some hearings on Tuesday. No, we're working bills on Tuesday. No? Who's that? That's right, we're doing 2 bills on Tuesday, hearing 3 on Wednesday, and then we're doing some final action. Is that right? Anyway, it's a heavy day, every day. Be here. And Thursday we will, the pet animal is on Tuesday, right? The hearing on Tuesday. And then, and some others, you should have it out if it's not out yet in the email. And then, Thursday, we will be working the pesticide bill. So again, work with Kyle for your amendments if you have some, and if other people have amendments, make sure that we are aware of them. So I wanted to give you the heads up. So Monday is a day to travel or get out of here early, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll expect to probably be here the whole time. Just wanted you to be aware. With that, it's our pleasure to have our informational briefing that we do every year. And Dr. Ernie Minton, who's the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Kansas State University. And welcome back to committee.
Thank you very much, Chairman Rogers. It's great to be back and good to see some old faces and new faces. I mean, last year's faces, those kind, whatever. I'm as straight as that as the chairman is on the bill work next week. But anyhow, in front of you at your places, you should have information in 2 forms. I'm going to be using the paper one in a PowerPoint format. The same information is here in a slicker, more permanent form, but I'd suggest if you want to, as I go through this, jot down questions. That's a maybe convenient way to do it. So we've titled this presentation today, Driving Innovation in Agriculture. The chairman introduced me. I've been the dean since 2018, interim for 1 year, and then permanent dean since 2019. I think this is my 7th trip back then to Topeka for this kind of event. So this year, I'm particularly excited about the opportunity to share with the committee some things that we have accomplished last year that we want to share with you, and some updates, particularly on the Ag Innovation Initiative that I shared with you last year. Some things we have that are requests, some of which are in the governor's budget recommendation, and then, of course, some accounting of the kinds of things we're doing specifically in academic programs, our teaching mission, our research mission, and our extension mission. So I'm going to move to this slide and then talk a little bit and kind of explain what this is all about. So what I'm going to, the sort of overarching theme of this presentation and the content of both of those pieces is our look towards the future is to remain very, very true to the approaches that we've had to develop deep strengths in key areas, all the way from crop genetics to livestock to agriculture policy, those kinds of things. But we are looking to the future to complement that with an additional emphasis on programs that will add additional value to the kinds of things that we're doing already, opportunities to bring new companies and economic development into the state. And we'll talk about that along the ways of the presentation. So what I have represented here is a quote from an alumnus who was asked about the Ag Innovation Center, and I think this person, Troy Anderson, is the vice president at Ardent Mills, the largest milling company in the U.S. He was a milling science graduate, acknowledging that K-State is the only place where we have wheat genetics all the way to product quality opportunities represented in one space. And we're proposing new space to enhance that capability, taking new approaches with interdisciplinary approaches to solving problems. And this is why he convinced the leadership at Ardent Mills to support this Ag Innovation Initiative. So we have a significant amount of private fundraising that has already gone into that project, and I'll share a little bit more detail about that here in just a bit. So in terms of the Ag Innovation Initiative, I shared the individual projects with you last year that were on the books that we had in mind to accomplish for this Ag Innovation Initiative. So I wanted to give you an update on that, and they're represented here in this slide. So currently, this is a $210 million project. This is as the accounting indicates there, as of about the third week in January, we were $92.3 million in private gifts, which is a remarkable fundraising achievement. The college has committed through our restricted use funds and research overhead and other kinds of things to partner with both state and private fundraising to help support this project because it's terribly important to us. And so far, we've received also $50 million from the state. So last year, there was an opportunity for $25 million without a match from the state, and so we had access to an additional 25 if we could raise $75 million. And so by December 1st, approximately, of 2022, we had raised that $75 million, unlocking that additional $25 million from the state. So that accounts for the 50. Now there is another request for 25 to support this project in the governor's budget if we can raise an additional $25 million privately to match that. So that is our challenge. But once we do that, we're going to be very, very close to our target of $210 million. And so we're very, very excited. We're also very optimistic that we can make that accomplishment happen. So this past year, in 2023, in May, we had the first groundbreaking for the Ag Research and Innovation Center. That was May 15th. The chairman was at that particular event, and it rained that day. I remember that well. And then December 15th, 2023, it rained again pretty hard, but we also had the Bilbrey Family Event Center. So we just highlight those as the first couple of many activities to come celebrating the arrival and the start of those projects beginning somewhat in 2024. So that's the report on the Ag Innovation Initiative. And we can have, obviously, some questions about that at the conclusion of the presentation. Next, I want to move to some efforts that have been endorsed here as university priorities to bring forward. And this is part of that opportunity to add additional value and modernize the kind of work that we do in the digital agriculture space. We've branded this particular effort the Institute for Digital Agriculture and Advanced Analytics. and there's a $2 million one-time request to help kickstart this program. We recognize that as we move forward with agriculture in Kansas, we have to be very, very good about delivering inputs to crops, including water, including fertilizer, herbicides, and so forth, using digital technologies. And there's a tremendous amount of data associated with doing that at scale. So we have an opportunity with this particular institute, which involves, yes, the College of Agriculture, but it's very, very interdisciplinary, involving statisticians, geologists, geographers, and engineers, other kinds of expertise that really bring an interdisciplinary approach to solving these problems. And so we're very, very excited about getting that program going. It will support, obviously, not only work that's delivered in the form of research and innovation, but also training our undergraduates to be as completely modern and competent as they're expected to be by the workforce. That includes also graduate students who may go to work for the John Deeres of the world, or maybe crop consultants. They have to be on the cutting edge of this digital agriculture process. So we're really very, very excited about that particular program. So I want to move forward to this slide titled Supporting Animal Agriculture. We're now moving into some areas that really touch on to that notion that I mentioned about value-added agriculture. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. But as you know, animal agriculture is a very, very important part of the total agricultural economy in the state. And we have projects or opportunities in the Ag Innovation Initiative to assist with the value-added portion of that. The Department of Animal Sciences and Industry, which houses the majority of the efforts in animal agriculture at K-State, is the largest major on campus of any. And so there's a great opportunity to build on that program. And you'll see two programs that are listed there, and I know this is a topic of interest to this particular group. So there are plans also to modernize our beef feedlot, which is north of campus, but that is a totally philanthropic project that's industry driven. The second one, which I know you've heard about, is the update and upgrade of our dairy production facility, which the dairy industry has taken a lead on, which we acknowledge is a tremendous need as well. So I want to draw your attention, though, to those projects and what we're doing in the Ag Innovation Initiative to match those production units with the value-added part of dairy and meat as we renovate in a very deep way Weber Hall for the meat processing side of the value-added part of beef production, and then also modernize our dairy processing facility as a part of the Call Hall renovations. So these will match very nicely with those industry-driven projects that are listed in this particular slide. And again, I'm happy to visit and ask questions as we complete the presentation. I want to move next to this slide that's titled Companies Investing in Kansas. And what I want to suggest to you is this is, again, a perfect example of the kinds of things that we do that have been our bread and butter, that is understanding how we increase crop yields and working with our breeding programs, maximizing yield potential and so forth. This is a grouping of at least 3 companies that have invested in Kansas in the last, or made announcements that investments and expansion in their companies are coming. I want to highlight the one on the left there, Schooler. So Schooler has announced earlier in 2023 their plans in Goodland for a oilseed crush plant. And you'll see there that that's going to include not just soybeans, but canola. So I know that this has occurred for a fact. We've been involved in canola breeding, which probably has flown under the radar for well over 10 years. And that relationship that has developed with our canola breeder, Mr. Mike Stamm, and leadership at Schooler was part of the decision-making for locating this crush plant in Goodland. And so that's an example of an investment that we made in more the basic breeding for this important oilseed crop, and a decision by a company, Schooler's located in Nebraska, to bring a crush unit to Goodland to add value to the canola oil that comes from that particular effort. So I want to just go off on a modest tangent, because I'm going to come back to it in a slide. The decision for Schooler to locate that particular plant in Goodland is really a great example of the things that we're also trying to accomplish with K-State 105. As we develop technical expertise that attracts companies, they also need to know that there's adequate health care, adequate child care, the other kinds of things that make a community attractive for companies to locate. And so this is really an example of the kind of work that we're doing through this K-State 105 effort, and I'm going to have a slide about that K-State 105 effort in just a bit. The Kansas Water Institute. So we also have an ask in the governor's budget for $5 million recurring to support this Kansas Water Institute. So last summer, the leadership at Kansas State University decided water was so important to our state. The obvious thing is the sustainability and lifespan of the aquifer, but also we have reservoirs that need attention. We have water quality issues. And so we just made a decision as an institution that K-State was going to lead this effort, but we're taking a different approach. We're partnering with other Board of Regents institutions in this effort. We're also aligning these efforts with an additional array of both federal and state agencies to deliver the work. So while it supports the effort by the Kansas Water Plan, it's different from the standpoint that this is a different set of players, primarily research institutions located in the state of Kansas, that are partnering with a different array of partners to deliver unique research opportunities, answer unique research questions, and bring the power of the KBOR institutions onto this particular effort. So we're really very, very excited about that as well. I think this committee knows well the risk we run when, however many decades maybe down the road, the aquifer continues to decline. So we're excited about the Kansas Water Institute. So I'm going to next move into a couple slides each that really highlight our teaching, research, and extension programs, and some things that are kind of highlights of what we've been up to lately. The first thing I want to report to you is I think last year I was able to report that the application and admissions for the new freshman class in the College of Agriculture looked positive. And in the end, we, for the first time in a decade, had more freshmen and total enrollment in the College of Agriculture than we had the previous fall. This is a great step in the right direction. We have similar, very, very optimistic numbers for the fall of 2024. And I want to point out that things I think that are coming to bear are strategic enrollment management efforts at the level of the university. But also, as you see there, we're really marketing the reputation of the college very, very effectively, and we're also supporting students with scholarship dollars. So you'll see that this website, niche.com, has us ranked this past year as number 6 in the nation. And the 5 above us, I'll tell you, come from states with a much, much greater population than 2.8 million people, with a much, much greater research budget, a much, much greater tax base, obviously. So K-State is really punching above its weight in the College of Agriculture, and it's primarily the result of the care that we take advising and teaching students that really brought K-State up in those rankings. With regard to our enrollment, often this comes down to managing debt, and so these scholarship opportunities at the level of the university have helped. We have also, through philanthropic efforts, been able to distribute, as you can see, over $2 million in scholarship assistance to students as well. So all of these things are converging to help us regrow the student base, which are going to complement our, I think, modernized facilities that are highlighted in the Ag Innovation Initiative projects. Oops, I want to pass over that one. The other thing I want to point out, 98% job placement rate. So essentially every student that is looking very hard that comes out of K-State with a degree in agriculture finds a job. Now, sometimes that's employment, but they may also be placed in the next stage of their education. So they may have been accepted to veterinary school or law school or whatever the case, or graduate school, whatever the case might be. So we're really very, very proud of that. And the thing that I would add that we're also very proud of that is that it really matches our philosophy, too, of inclusive admission. So part of if you go on the niche.com website, you'll find that our acceptance rates for students is about 96%. And so that's not something we shy away from. And I can tell you that the 5 above us ranges from about 36% admission to maybe 75 to 78% admission, and that's including our good partner in Orange to the south. And again, this is something that I feel is part of our land-grant mission, but I also can tell you that students that come in that are at risk at K-State, they may not be easy to get out. They may require high-touch advising, but they go out with a good, high-paying job, and we have added value to their lives. And so, again, that's something we're very proud of. Now on to research, and I'll just touch on this a little bit. These numbers are impossible to read, actually, on the screen, but you have them there in front of you. And so what I think the trend line shows is that in terms of this particular figure shows our success in garnering grant support to do the kinds of work that are the baseline, frankly, of programs like our water effort, of programs like our digital agriculture and advanced analytics. Our faculty whose salaries are supported by the ESARP sub-agency that the state provides, gives us the opportunity to leverage our expertise into success in terms of bringing in grants. And so I want to point out that there's a dip there in 1 year that's COVID related. We're back on track, and you can see that we're on a very positive trajectory. 2022 and 2023 were consecutive records for the College of Agriculture, and that's 2x the number of research dollars that's brought in by the next largest college at K-State. And again, I mentioned that if you think about it, so that's a state investment in faculty and personnel that leverages $70 million worth of research coming into the state of Kansas in benefit of the state's largest economic driver. This is a slightly different way to look at our research success, and this is a statistic. So if the last one was research grants, this one is research expenditures. And so this is slightly different in that regardless of where the dollars came from, whether they came from extramural grants or they came from state funding or federal, wherever they came from, if there was a dollar spent on something that could be accounted for as research, it gets rolled up into this total. And so what you see there in purple, the bars are the entire university. That's Kansas State University's reported totals to the NSF, and you can see they're at or slightly above $200 million. The College of Agriculture accounts for about half of that, just us. And so we have a really large footprint in terms of driving the research agenda in agriculture at Kansas State University. And again, really very, very proud of our very competent faculty in terms of being able to garner those dollars and keep the university moving forward in a very positive way. I want to talk a bit about K-State 105. So last year, the university was provided $5 million to get this project started. And just as a reminder, this is an effort to bring all of the assets of the university, all of the assets of the Kansas Boards of Regents universities, and then both statewide and local partners to focus on economic development and economic prosperity in the state. And what this effort does ultimately is it really complements and aligns what we do in our college in terms of research and innovation with the sustainability of rural communities. And it's not just finding a place for a John Deere dealership. And again, as I said earlier, it's what does the health care, what does the child care, what do other kinds of things that are decision makers for companies locating in a community mean for their decision to come into a particular community. So this is about economic development, and we're really very, very proud of the work of K-State 105, and that work continues. It's broader than the College of Agriculture. It's a university-wide program, but Extension is heavily involved. Quite obviously, we already have a presence in all 105 counties. So I'll finish up then with this series of pie charts that summarize our funding sources. You've got them there in front of you. You may need your readers to read them, but again, the same information is in this stapled publication as well. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that, except I want to point out to you top left, Agriculture Experiment Station. That's really our research mission. I think cooperative extension speaks for itself. That's our extension effort. And then the one in the bottom row in the middle, the college, represents our academic or teaching effort. So I want to just quickly again draw your attention to the top left and use this as an example of how investments from the state, which are represented in that green portion of the pie, result in success in the purple portion of the pie. So just very, very simply, that 35% state funding helps us acquire a great deal of dollars in terms of grants and contracts that generally come from outside of the state of Kansas into Kansas State University to execute projects in support of the work that this committee is interested in. So with that, I'm going to close, but obviously we can have questions as long as the chairman allows.
All right. Questions for Dr. Minton? Representative Schlingensiepen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Dr. Minton. I'm just curious because we just heard about the hopes and the plans for the dairy production facility. What I imagine, because it's easier to raise funds for a feedlot than it is for a dairy facility, just because of the relative size of the industries that are involved. What kind of a fundraising strategy specifically are you hoping to use in raising funds for the new dairy?
So, I'd say technically, the university is not actively engaged itself in raising funds. The dairy industry is leading that effort, but we're supportive of that effort. What we're doing is working in a very focused way to raise the funds to complete the Agriculture Innovation Initiative, which includes renovations to Call and Weber Hall. So we're taking on the value-added portion of both beef, pork, whatever the case might be, that's represented in terms of the meat processing portions of Weber Hall, and then the dairy processing portions of Call Hall. So why? We have a long list of deferred maintenance projects, and we acknowledge that our dairy production facility is in need, and the dairy industry has done a tremendous job in terms of documenting its age, the projected growth of the dairy industry in Kansas. So we're taking different strategies in terms of how we approach this very, very daunting problem of multiple millions of dollars of deferred maintenance that needs to happen. So we had to be focused, because it was a heavy lift to get the 210 in, on what we needed to focus on and complete first, and then what might be down the road. We've been partnering with the dairy industry, who has said this is our strategy and we'll take it, and they've done that, and they've been in front of this committee. And so we are supportive of their efforts.
And then if I can follow up, to tell me a little bit about the partnership with Go Topeka. I'm a representative from here in Topeka, and so I'm curious about that particular partnership.
Okay, so I'm not going to be able to give you a lot of detail with the partnership in Go Topeka. I suspect that my colleagues that are sitting behind me, particularly Matt Casey and others, could do a better job, but we can give you a detailed assessment of that. Other folks, again, at the university level, are working with Go Topeka and other agencies to fund economic development projects. And so shall we just get back to you with that?
I'd appreciate it.
Thank
you very much.
Okay.
Thanks.
Go Topeka and the Northwest Innovation Center partners in with K-State 105. And so looking at that, and so I think it's a continued developing situation as far as responsibilities and and trying to bring their strengths into the strengths of the extension system throughout the state, primarily, I think, around the Topeka area, because knowing of the hubs that is right here in Topeka. Other questions? Give me an update on the extension centers. You know, I always like to bring that, our we call them research farms, I guess, but you know, as we look at all these, so it's kind of that one, and you might just go ahead and blend in or start first with maybe the next phase of the Ag Innovation Initiative, maybe where dairy might come in and kind of where and are the extension centers a part of that?
So, you know, I think the research extension centers are definitely part of our infrastructure challenge. So, you know, so I would say we would have answers maybe at the end of this legislative session with regard to what the on-campus dairy situation might look like. What we have been doing personally is working with in the West, Dr. Brian Olson, more or less on a project-by-project basis to bring, for example, the feed mill at the feedlot in Hayes, and graduate student housing and those kinds of things up to speed. Now, it's really very premature to say anything definitive because there's nothing definitive that is in place, but Dr. Olson is working very closely with Garden City Community College, the city of Garden City, and I think Finney County in terms of looking at opportunities to bring a K-State presence to a greater extent, and you're familiar with those conversations in Garden City. Part of that grand plan could mean opportunities with that partnership to upgrade those office facilities, perhaps create partnerships with feedlots that are obviously abundant in the area, and so forth. But we don't have a plan for additional dairy production facilities in the West. Yeah.
And I think that's where, and I think, you know, we've had this conversation on that industry and are there places, but just the general overall, I know there's some other ideas that probably in future legislative sessions, we will want to work with you in replacing some of the equipment. Because, you know, research outside of kind of campus-centric, if you will, is very important. And we know some of those things, you know, to keep the research that we need, you know, and to keep faculty and keep others, it is. I mean, it's much like college athletics anymore. We just probably call it a different thing, but if you don't have the tools and the other things necessary, it's hard to keep good faculty. And,
Yes.
and you and I have talked about that as well, that we have some good folks within the College of Agriculture that, you know, I don't want to lose them to the west, to the east, to the south, you know, and especially not all the way to A&M. So, you know, but
That would be tragic.
and so those are the things I think, you know, to work on a comprehensive plan, how that can be a part of all this. I mean, I applaud what's going on. It was a little heartburn, quite honestly, when, you know, the news came out that Weber was going to be downsized, changed. I mean, that's a big thing for many of us, but also understand in order to stay competitive, move forward, that will be the case, and excited about the other opportunities that will be there. But, you know, and maybe it's just a matter of, it's taken this long to get here, and now we're all a little bit excited and want to have it done right away. And so knowing that that's a plan, and if there is a plan in place of how, you know, because all those play an important role, again, as the land grant we want K-State to be.
Absolutely. So of course, this is we're talking about, issues that have occurred over, decades, that we've got the momentum, we have the leadership on campus that is really understanding and supportive of agriculture. So and so the 210 Ag Innovation Initiative, this is the largest project ever in the history of K-State. So if you sum up all of what we need, it's probably close to $1 billion. So, okay, that's not possible. So let's chunk it into things that make sense first and then second and so forth. So that's the approach we're taking, but I want to specifically address things that are not campus-centric but are in the West. So this past year, we were able to hire a very, very well-known faculty member that led the irrigation program at the University of Nebraska. So we said collectively, not just me, but the university leadership, and then I would say private donors understanding how critical this aquifer situation was, to put together a package. And again, I have never, ever, I've been at K-State 41 years, had a donor say, would this help bring this individual here? I'm like, wow, I'm feeling like an athletic director now. And this young man came, and he is making things happen. So I think that, and this fits right with that Water Institute, but we've got what he's brought from Nebraska, the TAPS program, many opportunities for developing programs related to that that will bring higher quality, more modern irrigation facilities and technologies to the West. So we don't have an aquifer in Manhattan. This is an example of specifically investing for the West. We value Hayes, Colby, Garden City, and then our southeast stations, Parsons, and so forth as well. So we're trying to do what we can with the bandwidth that we have.
I understand. Very good. Other questions? Representative Minix.
I should weigh in here that, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Darren will be a major asset in the future. We're fortunate here in the state of Kansas to have him working with Dr. Olson out west and on a lot of these things. I applaud the Water Institute. It will help us on our water issues here in the state of Kansas tremendously. If you look at all their partners and who they're working with, that's what it takes here in Kansas to deal with water, is allegiances and everybody working in the same direction. And even the legislature. Dr. Olson and I have had several conversations. We always seem to be traveling on I-70 going different directions at the same time. Something as simple as maybe some tax credits to Kansas manufacturing companies that would sell their equipment, new technology items, specialty items, trying to make an extremely precision planter that works on small plots in experiment stations is a custom build. They don't sell very many of those items. If we as a legislature could approve something like a tax credit to Kansas manufacturers to basically provide their equipment to the university on a cost basis, some of those items are extremely expensive because you're talking planters and drills down to 8 foot or combines and things of that nature. That short list of partners and people working on this project is, I think, somewhat incomplete. There's a lot of people that can pitch in on our water issues here, legislature included, and that's something that I'll be pursuing a little bit more in the future. But just give you guys a heads up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Other questions, comments? All right, well, I think you did a good job. Oh, tell us just a little bit about this, the feedlot or the possibility, and that's coming primarily all from industry, is that right?
It's all from philanthropic dollars.
Good.
No state dollars.
Now, I do have to ask this question because I've been told that I've been assured, but I haven't been assured from you. As we continue to see the Edge District, all that north of campus,
Uh-huh.
prime real estate, rich history of the K-State farm. I have concerns as we build up what happens north. Will we continue, as what one slide said, to have those fields, those teaching facilities, those farms still close with campus, and that will not be developed?
Okay, so, so of course, my answer is no, but,
I understand it goes
Yes.
beyond that, but
yes. So, to address that in a sincere way, we have marketed and we think there is value in having both our North Agronomy Farm and livestock units close enough to campus where our students can go out, do their work, do a lab, and be back on campus for their, whatever next class. So we think that situation at K-State is really very, very valuable and is not present at very many land-grant universities. So I do understand that the opportunity to develop that is tempting not for the Dean of Agriculture, however. But what we think we've done in agreeing to allow the foundation to have some property right on Kimball Avenue, but allow us, as part of the Ag Innovation Initiative, to renew the facilities just on the north side of that new access road. We've already got in the middle of that block our feed and flour mill, and those are pretty good speed bumps. And then we've got the Animal Science Gateway with the Stout Center, and now the Event Center up on the hill. So I think it won't be a hard sell to convince those that might think otherwise. It's not a good place for condos. There are other places maybe. And that we can continue, though, to be a good partner with the city, a great partner for athletics, and for the K-State Foundation. And I get it, however, that the look, if you come down Kimball Avenue towards the West Stadium and you look to the right or to the south and you see the magnificent West Stadium complex, and then you look to the left and you see a grouping of buildings that were built across multiple decades and are in need of repair. So this is what really drove us to say, we get it, we want to be a good neighbor, and we want to look good. And so that's another important, very, kind of ancillary aspect of the Ag Innovation Initiative. These new agronomy facilities are going to look great, and they're going to fit with we think, the objectives of the EDGE.
well, again, I know that's above your and my pay grade, but it just it would be nice to keep that, but I also know it's progress, but that to me should be and continues to be a selling point for those who want to be in agronomy, animal science, and so on, that it's right there and you don't have to travel 20 or 30 miles or wherever that is. And it also kind of, keeps Manhattan. So
Yeah.
Other questions? Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for your presentation, Dr. Minton. Back to the Kansas State 105, you mentioned in the slide here, and you talked about it, about the statewide partners. And I think most of us are pretty familiar with the Kansas State Research and Extension connection with the university. Could you give us just a little more of an overview of how Network Kansas operates and how they interface with the university and how they interface with the state of Kansas?
I could,
Dean, if I can, you can answer that as much as you want, but I think we're going to try to get Jessica Ganand here, who heads up 105 to do that. But if you want to kind of give that broad overview, because we can do a
Well,
deeper dive with an update of 105.
that's a little bit the same as my inadequate answer for Go Topeka. Now, if I, I could phone a friend right behind me here who could probably speak to that, but if Jessica's coming in, that'd be a terrific source of information if that works.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I apologize for not, but that, I think in order, because I know we'll have a lot of questions, deeper dive a year into that. So
Yeah.
that's the plan. Other questions for the dean? Okay, well, again, thank you for the update. Looks like good news, and we'll look forward to seeing more being done. It's exciting the way that has devolved. I know when President Linton said what he was going to do about how much money they were going to raise, and I looked at him in such a way, he goes, "What?" And I said, "This is North Carolina, Mr. President, but y'all got it done, so congratulations."
Well, thank you very much. And just to amplify what Chairman Rogers mentioned, I again want to say it has been a tremendous honor, but also a real breath of fresh air to have President Linton, to work with him, Marshall Stewart as well in Anderson Hall. We've got a lot of great communication value, forward vision, and really inspiration to move agriculture in particular forward. And so it's been great. Now I might mention I'm blanking on what the day is. Today the 7th, maybe. Next week on Valentine's Day, he'll have been at K-State 2 years. I remember that well. And Marshall's going to be coming up on his 1-year anniversary. And the reason is, I've dropped to my knees several times to think of how lucky I am to be here with that kind of leadership in Anderson Hall. So I've been at K-State, as I said, since 1983, and we've never been in a better position to move agriculture forward.
All right, very good. Well, thank you again
Thank
very
you.
much. All right. Okay, and again, reminder, look for those emails for the GMD reports. We will meet tomorrow, hearing on House Bill 2543. That is the livestock brands fees bill. Anything else for the good of the cause? We are adjourned.